So we are all gathered here to pay our respects and mourn our loss of our dear friend, colleague, mentor, teacher, guide, and a great scientist and a leader, Professor Rohini Godbole. Given her large number of contributions to the field and in science in general, I will just briefly mention her biography before we pay our last respects. Professor Rohini Godbole was born on November 12, 1952 in Pune. After finishing her graduation in University of Pune, she did her masters at IIT Bombay, where she was an Institute Silver Medal recipient. She did her PhD at State University of New York, Stony Brook in 1979. She was a visiting professor at various institutes and universities in the world, including CERN Theory Department, where she was a scientific associate several times. After serving on the faculty of the University of Bombay, she joined IISc in November 1995. She retired as a full professor from the institute in July 2018, but continued her research activities at CHEP till date. In her tenure, she has guided over 14 students, 3 MPhil students, 5 master's students. In fact, her last student submitted the thesis this August. Most of her students have been very successful and settled as faculty in top institutes, India and abroad. She has many accolades and awards, including Padma Shri, Ordre National du Mérite, France, membership of all academies, D.Lit and D-Science from several institutes and universities. She also served on various advisory committees to the governments in India and abroad. Professor Godbole was a leading pioneer of particle physics in India. While she has ventured on various subfields, the main focus of her research activity remained in collider physics, in particular towards top and Higgs physics. She was a champion for future colliders, in particular for the ILC and its various variants. She was widely consulted all over the world for her expertise in this matter. She led community activity in India in these directions through various programs, schools, conferences, and other network programs. She also worked significantly on other areas such as supersymmetry. She wrote and edited several books. Her book on supersymmetry with Manuel Dries and Prabir Roy is very famous and recommended by many universities and particle physics schools. In recent times, her interests have been in studying dark matter within the context of supersymmetric theories, and one of her recent papers was published in Physical Review Letters. She had several collaborators, most of them very young, in India and as well as abroad. Professor Godbole was a leading facilitator for women in science programs. She has brought it into mainstream, publishing 2 well-known popular books, Leelavati's Daughters and A Girl's Life in Science with Professor Ram Ramaswamy. The books have inspired many young women. She was also the founding chair of Indian Academy of Sciences Women in Science panel and has put in place several programs to increase participation of women in science in India. Professor Godbole's contributions are immense, and she'll be missed not just by her family and CHEP, but also a large number of collaborators, friends, and people who are just inspired by her energy all over the world. At some point, we hope to have a conference in her memory, and also we are setting up a web page where you can leave, all of you can leave your thoughts on her. So now we can have a minute's silence in her memory. I request all of you. Thank you. So, I leave the floor open if anybody want to share their thoughts actually on Rohini. Yeah. And present some floral tributes to her. Chanda, you want?
I'm not sure I can climb all these steps now. Yeah, so we are all gathered today to, remember Rohini in all her positive aspects. So in passing away of Rohini, I have really lost a dear friend. And it's very hard for me to believe she's no more and to think about her in past tense. And we knew she was ill for the last 3-4 months, but we hope that she would bounce back with her usual, resilience and fighting spirit. I have known Rohini since maybe more than 40 years, since we were students together at Stony Brook. So we had a lot of past together and we have sort of grown together. And as you know, Rohini was a really remarkable and vibrant person. You could not sort of, just being around made you feel more alive, both personally and scientifically. And each time I felt that any interaction with her was, inspiring. One thing which, Sudhir has summarized very well, so I won't talk about her contributions to science and women in science, which are well known. But she was really driven by excellence in science, which came through in all her interactions. And as a person and a friend and a scientist, I think some of her most striking qualities were her sharp intelligence and her capacity to get to the bottom of anything. So anytime she came for a talk, Rohini was the one who would ask the most pertinent questions, even if she was not in the field. Like, I always learned from her questions in a talk. And her sincerity in anything she took up. She was on so many committees, but she did not just show up to, be there. She put in hard work for all the committees that she was on in, which I think is quite rare. And she wanted to give back to the society, which she did very, very remarkably. But best of all was her warm-hearted nature and her personality, which, made people open up to her. She has mentored so many students and colleagues. And I'm sure, as Sudhir mentioned, her contribution will be, remembered for her field as well as the people she interacted with. I think both are equally important. And I just wanted to mention one incident. Rohini had really genuine interest in science. And there was a talk by a student visiting from France last month. And I mentioned to her on the phone that, this is about MOND, which is related to one aspect, one way of looking at dark matter. And I know she was interested in dark matter. So we put it on Zoom because she wanted to listen, and this was just a month ago when she was really very ill. But she listened to it, and later she told me she had enjoyed it. So, I'm very glad that we could arrange that and she could listen to that talk and enjoy it. So it just shows her, driven interest in science, and she achieved so much, but I really feel bad that she had so many ideas and now she can't, execute them. But anyway, it's going to be hard to come to department, not find her here. So I will surely miss her and, her friendship, her advice. And I'm sure so many of you will also. So, yeah, thank you. And thanks for arranging this meeting, Sudhir. Since morning, I haven't done anything. We all friends have just talked about Rohini and
So it's hard for us to believe that Rohini is not with us. Okay. her energy always stood out in any meeting. One of the things I always waited, just as Chanda was saying, in a phenomenology seminar, if I happened to attend, was her to ask a question. So her questions always helped me to relate to the topic of the seminar and clarified the issues. So her seminars were always full of energy, and apart from making the atmosphere lively and enthusiastic and inspiring, she played an important role in my career. So when I was deciding to join ISC, I've told this story sometime before, but I think it is good to tell it again. So to join ISC, moving from HRI, so after the job talk, you sort of meet various faculty and just chat with them on what they're doing and so on. And at that time, CHP did not have a string group, and I had always been in places with very strong string groups. And I guess that apprehension showed on my face. And when I talked to Rohini, and she of course talked about her work, and she noticed this, and she said, don't bother about this or what we are doing. Just do whatever clicks for you. And this I hold very dearly, and it was sort of, it gave me a confidence, and it's partly one of the conversations which helped me move to ISC. And she has always supported my work here. And just to bring out her personality and the magnetic effect she had on young people, let me mention the effect she had on my daughter, who met her when she was around 8 or 9 years old. And she was naturally drawn to her and inspired by her just by a little bit of chatting. And my daughter does not respect what I or Kavita, both of us are physicists, they do. But she holds whatever Rohini must have done must be good. And this was actually reinforced on her mind, on my daughter's mind, when her school, she goes to DPS, and that is her almanac. School has an almanac, which is a diary, and that has featured Rohini. And then she was absolutely sure that we don't do anything, and Rohini is the person who does something. And my last interactions with her was on an article she wrote about Professor Higgs in Current Science. And I was partly one of the editors. I'm one of the editors, and she was really she had to submit this article. And this was one of the last things she did, and I think it was a struggle because she was not well, and she apologized for the delay, but she was very happy she submitted that article finally. So I'm sure Rohini will continue to be an inspiration to all of us, and let's remember her in the best of her moments, the enthusiasm and the energy that she presents when she discusses physics. Thanks. Thanks, Sudhir, for organizing this.
Some of the online speakers want to join this. Yes. Yeah, we can switch it. They can talk. So how to take a screen? It is there. You have connected audio there, right?
Anyone from online who want to say something, you can raise your hands. Abhiram, okay.
Someone's looking at me.
Yeah, we are correcting it.
Hi, I hope everyone can hear me. Can somebody understand my voice is clear?
Just say yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm really at a loss for words. It was extremely shocking to read. I saw Sudhir had shared CHEB's Facebook post this morning, and I was quite dumbstruck. Professor Godbole was, she was a very uncompromising and formidable mentor. Much more than physics, I learned from her how to be very meticulous in my work, and especially how to be very precise with language. And when doing physics, how not to, get lost in the weeds, go on a endless rabbit hole of literature, and how to hone in into the essential points. And one thing especially I would like to know is that her lectures were incredible. I think this is something that everybody who has encountered Rohini will agree. And especially in IISc, it was quite a treat during one of her lectures. I believe it was standard model, but I'm not entirely sure, where she basically built up the entire standard model, the Higgs mechanism based entirely on concerns of unitarity. And that was quite a treat to witness those lectures. Until very recently, we didn't correspond much, but she was forwarding papers, and I had been, I had intended to perhaps Skype with her sometime to discuss a paper she recently forwarded on implementing Bessel transforms for transverse momentum dependent EDS. So in addition to supersymmetry, this is another field that she was also in the last couple of years quite active in QCD. So I just wanted to point that out. Thank you for letting me speak. It's a huge loss. What can I say?
Thank you for the opportunity to speak here, and I was so perfectly on and as so many people have expressed, it was quite shocking to hear. So I remember my first meeting with Rohini when I was a visiting student at CERN, and surprisingly I was not really a student, but I had not been in contact with her before, but of course I had heard of her for many years, and she was quite established already, and so I was very excited and nervous at the chance to meet her. And an additional excitement was that she was also a Marathi person and a woman, which combination was fairly rare up to that point in my PhD, so it was quite exciting to meet someone like her. So I finally dialed up the courage and literally dialed up the phone for her office. And I was confused because in Marathi I would have been quite formal and used me. Whereas, as we all know, in particle physics we usually just everybody by their first name, and I was quite at a loss for how to address her. But she was very kind, and we talked a lot about what I was doing there and what my plans were. And at the end of the call, the office mate who was with me in the room said that he found it very amusing that she understood all the physics words, but none of the Marathi verbs that I used in that conversation. And over the years, of course, I kept meeting her at multiple conferences and discussions, and she always took the time to ask how my work was going. She was also my thesis examiner for my PhD, so that was also another nice memory. However, somehow we never really got down to writing a paper together. Yeah, we've had over the years multiple conversations. I asked her specifically that how she decided to pursue PhD in America, which to me was a very brave decision in the early 70s at a time when there was no internet and also no phones in most households. So she told me a lot about her many memories, and of course we all sound like famous now. And during our many conversations, she also mentioned how proud she was of being able to contribute to the women in physics dimension, which has also been mentioned today. And she maintained that facilitating high quality work was the primary goal, and that any intervention should be directed with that in mind, which has always stuck with me. And my very last physics encounter with her was after the Zoom seminar for the W boson mass measurement that was last month. So I had heard she was unwell, and I was very surprised to see her in the Zoom audience afterwards, and she sounded fairly weak, but still quite upbeat. And I was very happy to be able to reconnect with her so close. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. She will be missed by many people, not just her students and collaborators, but definitely also other people.
I will be able to speak. So we met in 1992 and we've been collaborating since 2000, writing a paper every year or so. So many things have been already said about Rohini, but one thing that should be pointed out is in our physics discussion, she always got very quickly to the essential.
Swami. Rohini was a dear friend since at least 1980, 81 when I came back to TIFR and she was already there. And since then, there's not been a year, and often not been many months when we haven't been in touch. We worked together. Our fields are different in physics, so we worked only in other aspects. We edited Pramana for many years. She was the chief editor. I was an associate editor for a while. But the thing that really brought us, a lot more, a passionate venture for both of us was this idea of bringing together the stories of Indian women in science, which has appeared as Leelavati's Daughters. This was something that she was very proud of, justifiably. It took a lot of effort on her part and mine, but she was the face of Indian women in science, and what she has done to make people in general sensitive to the issues that concern gender parity and work towards making sure that the disadvantages that women face could be eventually overcome. I don't think we could have had a better champion. I think that work needs to go on, and we will all miss her for that. But what I think is reassuring is that she has inspired so many people, so many women, so many men, to work towards gender equality, that I think that has made a real dent. We'll miss her tremendously, both professionally and personally, but her spirit will not be forgotten.
Hello. I'm Parthiv. I was essentially a student. So while I didn't really talk much research with Rohini, but I was fortunate enough to be a student of her last Quantum Mechanics 2 course that she taught in part of like integrated PhD course. And it was no doubt the best course of my life, but she was an enthusiastic person. Her enthusiasm to explain things was so energetic. It would instantly research everybody of us. And it was very rare to see that kind of sharpness of mind and the kind of sharpness she encouraged us to inculcate in. That was something that inspired me it's been almost 6-8 years, but her teaching, her enthusiasm, the physics that she taught us in that prized course still guides me to this day in my research. So she was a wonderful person and very special person, one of the very few inspiring teachers in my life. And as the other speakers, the other eminent speakers have already spoken, her remarkable contribution not only in the science, but also in the sociology of the science, in particular, the women in science, in the context of in making the condition better. So I will always remember Professor Godbole as with all the enthusiasm, the smiling face, and hopefully she is having, in a different universe, she's having a blast. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, just to follow up the Parthiv's course, because I was also joined Parthiv in PhD in 2015, and we also did the QM2 course. I want to say that for researchers like her caliber, it is very difficult to teach a basic course like QM2, but she taught so many things, like Wigner-Eckert theorem. She gave 3 proofs, like the scattering cross-section, S-matrix analytic, etc. I mean, these are things you never find in book. Like only a true researcher can teach these things. Even the last assignment was 23 pages long. So in a sense that she really put it so much effort in a graduate course, like which very few people would do. Also, I remember one more instance, like gravitational wave was already discussed during the march, I mean, like officially, and she told one of the classes that, I mean, you are living in a era like where Higgs boson has been found, gravitational wave has been found, so you would be the most luckiest person in the next decades to come, so please use that. So yeah, in a sense that I have a very good memory too. So yeah, following the Parthiv, I mean, ma'am has always encouraged me, like when I was leaving to IISc to RRI and cosmology, I have briefly talked with her. It's an amazing person, and like of course her gender movement and researcher, prolific research careers, almost everybody aware of. But I just want to say, like, from as a graduate student, what a privilege is to get such a cutting edge teaching from a researcher, which, I mean, like, is almost not at all in the book. I mean, like, it completely gives a new window to think for a even basic course like QM2. So yeah, she would be duly missed, and I'm very sorry for the loss, but I hope that so very much.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for letting me say a few words. It is really still, I'm in shock at the news this morning. I didn't know things were so close to the end. In some sense, Rohini was my scientific sister. We had the same advisor in Stony Brook, although she was a few years ahead of me. I didn't meet her there. But we got in touch because of a common history and because of a common interest in perturbative QCD. We had many interactions, and she became a very good friend, not just to me, but of physics in the Netherlands. She visited Utrecht and Amsterdam a few times and gave wonderful lectures, made many friends, inspired so many young people, particularly young women. The book Lillewati's Daughters is a wonderful and inspiring book. She combined so many remarkable qualities of high energy, very smart, very driven, definition of charisma, I think, very warm, and also a very nice sense of humor. All these things made her into a wonderful person, and I'll really miss her. Also, for CERN, she made a great positive contribution. I think she was very a supporter of a close association of India with CERN, and I think India will, for a long time, profit from that. It will be very hard to process this. But yes, thank you for letting me say these words.
Hello, everyone. This is Sushan. Rohini came to IIT Kanpur when I was an MSc student. This was probably 87 or 88. And we heard that the one place she wanted to visit in Kanpur, apart from giving a lecture there, was the girls' hostel. So she came there in the evening, and she talked to us, and I think many of us could see our way into science from that encounter. So she became an inspiration and an icon through that interaction in the evening. And later, when I was a student at ISC, she joined ISC. And then she became more of a mentor and a friend. I had never done a course with her, but much of the philosophy of my life has been significantly shaped through my interactions with her. I hit a few rough patches on my personal life during PhD, and she stood like a rock, and she would constantly tell me, you have to persevere, especially because you are a woman, and you cannot all through these years. We knew that she was not keeping well, and we knew that probably there isn't much time, but it still feels, I really cannot accept the fact that she is no more. We would not have another conversation again. This is unbelievable. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible? Am I audible? Yeah. So thank you for allowing me to speak. I actually did my PhD under the guidance of Professor Rohini Godbole. So not only she was a very nice PhD supervisor, also she was a very kind-hearted person. She was very nice to me during my PhD at IAC and afterwards. It is a very great loss for me personally and for the community. So actually, I don't have any word. It's a very sad news for me, and I lost like a mother. So I don't have any words to say. So thank you for allowing me to say a few things. Thanks. Thank you.
So this is Prabhavati, and although I find it very difficult to speak, but I still thought that I should speak as a woman and as a particle physicist. And I knew Rohini in 92. First I met Rohini in 92. And Rohini always takes pride. Later, she used to always take pride in telling me how my supervisor, Professor Amitabh Raichaudhuri, introduced me to Rohini, saying that he wants to introduce me to her specially. And since then, Rohini has remained a role model and an inspiration. Although I have not written any paper with her, but our interactions became much closer in the past few years, due to being in many committees and also due to our shared interest on the issues pertaining to women in physics. She has always been very supportive and always played the advisory role in forming the Gender in Physics working group under the Indian Physics Association. And she was very involved in the International Conference on Women in Physics, which we hosted, which India hosted through the gender group of IPA. And also we formed the high energy physics gender group in the DAE symposium in IOP in 2000, in NICER in 2020, and Rohini was very, very supportive, and she gave us lots of advices on how to go about it. And even on 5th October, she sent me, some of us, a message regarding, some things that the group should pursue on these issues. And I remember one incident that Rohini was, they included me in Leelavati's daughters, and I was not submitting my contribution. And once I met Rohini and I told her that I am very busy, I am not finding time. And she asked me, Subha, do you think you are busier than me? And that made me think, and I realized that I cannot be busier than her. And so that made me submit the article. And I am so very grateful that, I submitted the article and became the part of Leelavati's daughter, which is a real privilege and honor. Rohini had a very close connection to PRL, Physical Research Laboratory. She has collaborators here, and she used to come to PRL very often. In fact, in 2019, she came for our decadal review, and when we entered PRL now, there is a photo of the PRL family in which the central person is Rohini. So I see her photo almost every day. I last met her in 2023 in person in the meeting which CHEP has organized. And those of us who have attended the meeting would know that she will be sitting on the first bench, and she will be asking questions in almost every talk. that was her spirit. She was really a force, and I always admired that, how she finds just the right words in every situation. So it's really very shocking, and we are going to miss Rohini, but we must carry her legacy on. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me say a few words. Rohini was my oldest friend in physics. We met as undergraduates in 1970. She was at IIT Powai, I was at IIT Kharagpur, but we met as NSTA scholars at summer school. And each year after that, for the next 5 years. And that established a friendship which has continued for the subsequent 50 plus years. We have heard about her already. All I want to say is that in her New Year's card last year, she wrote, "For me, 2023 began with a scare of the big C. Luckily, things are not what one feared, although not necessarily curable, c'est la vie. The event brought home two realizations. One of them is what one always knew but chose to forget, that the line is finite. The second one was even more important. I realized how blessed I have been in my life meeting so many friendly, kind souls. A big thank you to my friends and the fact that there are now over 230 of us online today is testimony to that. She will not be forgotten. We will remember her. Thank you.
Yeah. Can I speak? Yeah. Can I speak? Can I speak?
Yes, sir, you may speak.
Yes. So I know Rohini from 1989 when I attended an SCRC school where she was a very young faculty who had come to teach. And as students, we had heard there is this new faculty from Bombay University who was coming to teach. When in walked a very small, very frail-looking woman whom we thought was another participant, but then she started to teach. And when she started to teach, with her strong voice and her passion for teaching and the energy she put into teaching, she immediately grew 2 feet. And that was our first encounter with Rohini. Over many years, we have written papers together, we have worked together. I have worked with Rohini's students very fruitfully, and she has been a mentor. She would often scold me. But the last thing I have to say is that very recently, Rohini and Sunil Mukhi were writing a book, a textbook on the standard model, and they wanted me to join and participate in it. And it is only a few months ago that that was settled and it was decided that we would write this book together. Now Sunil and I have to finish the book, and I would consider it a sacred duty to finish this book. The last thing I would like to say is that when I joined this meeting, my first impression was to look and see, has Rohini joined? Because I cannot imagine a big meeting in high energy physics or of friends in physics without Rohini being part of it. But this is something we will have to get used to, and it's going to be difficult. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Annapurni here. I'm Director in the Institute of Astrophysics. We've had a lot of interactions with her. I'm speaking on behalf of my institute as well. With her as a physicist, and she used to come over to Institute of Astrophysics for the last 3 decades or so. And it's been always a pleasure to have her around, discuss various things. As late as, I think, the National Science Day talk she gave in 2023 as well. So anytime we request her to talk about gender parity issues, which she was very passionate about, or talk to her students or give a public talk, she's always been very, very kind and very enthusiastic about it. So I think we always been so much used to with the enthusiasm and the passion of whatever she does. She brings it to the meetings, and a lively discussion she brings is going to be really missed. But I think we have learned a lot from what she's done so far, and I think the message is to carry it on forward in her memory, and we will always cherish her activities and her passion to always. Thank you so much. We'll miss her, definitely, but I think it's for us to take it forward from now. Thank you.
Okay, hello. I hope everyone can hear me. I am Sadeshwar Nagapan, and I'm gonna speak for my supervisor. I am a student of Fauzi Baujema from LAPTH Lab ANSI. So now I will read his words. I'm sorry that I cannot talk, as I think I cannot finish a sentence. To tell you how shocked I am. When I wrote to my daughter this morning, they both called me to ask how I was doing, and they were among the first ones to give me support. A support that I wanted to convey to her family. Rohini was not just a colleague, a collaborator, and a friend, but has become part of my family. To cheer you up, my daughter looked up to her as soon as they felt mature enough. When they were kids, both ran to her and measured themselves against her, and waited for the day when they would be a bit taller, but they always looked up in particular for what she has done for women in STEM. Noor is certainly tremendously grateful, and Rohini was proud of that. On the physics front, Genevieve will say more about our collaboration or part of it, and the Indo-French collaboration and the Aure du Mérite, the Les Ho, that she never wanted to miss. I can now not even write more. I still have the message I received this morning from her phone saying last seen. But so many memories remain. And of course, I would like to convey the sympathy of the French community and the members of Lab Annecy. Annecy, where she had her last visit in June outside India, there was a stop in Geneva. She thanked Rini for the dal and the curry pasta that we brought from the south of France. And that's it, and I hope my supervisor is doing well. And I personally met her like last June when I was doing my internship at Lab under Fauzi, and I already knew about her works. I always wanted to meet her for a long time, and I didn't know she was visiting Lab. But surprisingly, when I first met Fauzi told me that Rohini is also there, and I was very excited to see her. And yeah, she has done a lot of tremendous physics research, I know. But I saw the other part of Rohini Godbole in one of her talk in the lab, which is Women in Science. She has done like a lots of work in Women of Science. She has conclusive data, and she was very eager to talk about it with me about the women in science and what I can do as a contribute as a young young researcher in physics, what I can do for more women in science like that. And also, as I moved abroad recently, she understood that I am having not good food, so she gave some of her groceries when she left. I imagine how, and speaking every one of you talk, I see what her legacy is and how everyone is missing. Like, it's a big loss for the future of India. Like after Tata. So, okay, I would like to conclude my speech. Thank you.
So when I heard the news today morning, I just realized that Rohini is my first collaborator to have passed away. And that really affected me because one memory that I have, so I've written one paper with her on the Frossard-Bound and quantum field theories, and she was obviously the driving spirit because she was supervising this master student who was from Spain, and I was helping her with some calculations. And so after a calculation was done, we put it up on the archive and we submitted to the journal. And we submitted to Physics Letters B. I think we submitted at 10 a.m. in the morning. The acceptance came at 4 p.m. directly from the editors, because she was very well known, and so the editor, I guess, had respect for the way that she did research. You have heard a lot about other things, but one anecdote I want to share is that one thing that I frequently heard other colleagues refer to her is that what is the average height of Rohini? So you would think that maybe the average height is whatever it is physically, but it is 35,000 feet because she used to travel so much that she was most of the time in the air. So I don't have anything further to say, but she has affected all of us positively with her indomitable spirit and enthusiasm for doing research in the correct way. So I wish her, wherever she is, 35,000 feet or wherever she, I hope she rests in peace.
Sabine wants to talk, and Pralay also. Yeah, I think we'll close with that actually. Yeah.
Hello. Yes, this is Sabine Kramel from France. For some reason, I can't start my video. But anyway, yeah. I don't think that I can find the words to express what I feel right now, and having this news that Rohini passed away. It's no longer with us. But I still wanted to say something. Like I think I got to know Rohini when I was still a student in Vienna, and then she was visiting Vienna. And eventually we started working on CP violation in supersymmetry. And it's very quickly developed into a real, not only like lots of respect and admiration, but into a real friendship, also on the personal level. Later on, when I conveyed to Rohini how much I would like to see India, she actually invited me over to Bangalore, made me discover India, and it was the onset of a long collaboration, not only with her, but with lots of other Indian physicists, which really was immensely valuable, and I'm immensely grateful for the experience and also for her friendship. Yeah, we kept collaborating on and off and exchanging news. And just few weeks ago, we were exchanging some pictures. I was sending my wishes for a good recovery. And every time talking or communicating with Rohini, I mean, she was so full of optimism. There's nothing to really to break her energy and her optimism, and she was a person that with a really incredible attitude to life that should be a role, an example for all of us. Okay, my heart is too full and the memories are too many, so anyway, I can't find the words to really express all of this. But okay, yeah. Thanks for the opportunity to speak, and we will always keep her in mind, in memory.
Yeah, I could speak now, I think. The video is still not allowed to. But okay. Can I start now?
Okay. So thank you for the opportunity to say a few words about Professor Godbole here. And with the deep heart, I mean, I heard this news this morning and I was quite shocked. And my colleague from ISC, she posted it in the India CMS mailing list. Anyway, my first, I think I came to know about Rohini or met first time when I was a student in TIFR. And subsequently, when I was, I did not know her that time, but in later years, when I was an Atlas postdoc, and I met her more formally in the context of the collider physics, and I kind of started understanding that how gargantuan figure she is in Indian hip and beyond. I think that was the first time I kind of realized. And of course, she has been one of the pioneering persons in the high energy physics, and especially for the collider physics community. In spite of her being a true theorist and phenomenologist, she understood and she has been the continuous encouragement to the high energy physics community, especially the experimentalists. I met her last time in April. I mean, to my bad luck. Okay, I mean, I did not realize that. Okay, I mean, it was my last conversation with her with those words. I think I just wanted to close by saying that her legacies and contributions to HEP would remain the true inspiration for the new generations as well, and she would never be forgotten in life. Thank you.
Well, hello everyone. Can I say a few words? This is the Tao Han. All right, I tried to turn on the video. It didn't seem to work. But in any case, this is a very sad day and very difficult for me to speak. I don't think I can make it comprehensive. But I just want to share one particular aspect. And so I'm from University of Pittsburgh. I don't know how many people on the US side connected. It's not the convenient time. It's very early for many other sides. But I'm at the CERN now, so that the timing seemed to be rather convenient for me to join. So the particular aspect I want to share with you is Rohini's tremendous contribution to the U.S. particle physics society and community. So last time we met, actually was not long ago. I think so. I remember right, probably 2 years ago, she attended the APS April meeting, the American Physics Society April meeting, and she was an invited speaker to give the talk on women in science in general. So that was very well received and tremendous impact in our community. And furthermore, I remember she served as a member, international member, and the theoretical particle physics member for the HEPAP. HEPAP is the High Energy Physics Advisory Panel to advise the funding agencies, NSF, DOE, for the policy making for our future projects and so on and so forth. So she served on the HEPAP and made a tremendous impact over there as well. If I remember right, and she probably also served on the DPF, Division of Particle Physics Executive Committee. So that's what I want to share with you, that not only as a colleague, as a friend, as an outstanding scientist for her contribution to our field, she also made a direct impact for our particle physics and society community in the U.S. I'm sure she will be dearly missed, not only by all of us here, but by our community and society as well. I stop here.
submit some floral tributes to her, please do so. Thank you.